On Christmas night, the city was drenched in colors. Between the towering buildings of New York, lights had spread a magical veil. The streets were glowing with lamps, and songs of joy echoed everywhere. Sophia, who was in her early 20s, stood in Central Park with her hand resting on her husband Rahim's shoulder, alongside their 6-year-old daughter, Leanna. Leanna adjusted her little cap and stretched her tiny fingers toward the sparkling lights of the Santa tree. "Look, Mommy. They look like stars." Her voice carried both innocence and wonder. Rahim laughed, took out his phone, and began recording a video. This was the kind of moment Sophia loved to include in her YouTube videos for her sisters. "This is our Christmas, a day to share happiness." Throughout the night, they wandered past different stalls. Hot cocoa, small cakes, and little gifts from Santa for the children made the atmosphere even more delightful. Beneath the park's grand tree, thousands of lights shimmered while people were busy with laughter and stories. But that smiling Christmas evening suddenly turned into silence. Liana stood near the tree for a while, staring at the glowing lights. Then Sophia noticed that one small space in the pair of gloves on her hand was now empty. She turned around, and there was no sign of Liana. At first, she thought Liana might have gone to look at a toy stall or wandered into a nearby crowd. But when she called out loudly, "Liana," there was no reply. Fear settled into her heart. Rahim immediately began searching around, but the people had started to scatter, and the glow of the lights now felt strangely frightening. They informed the park security, and a search of the entire area began. Under the beams of flashlights, a few moments felt like hours, but there was still no trace of Leanna. Security and police arrived quickly. In the vast openness of the park, amid the harsh floodlights, voices echoed everywhere. Someone crying out in panic, someone nervously pleading over the phone. Sophia instructed people to make posters, a smiling photo of Leanna, a phone number, and the words, "My name is Leanna, please help." Rahim handed over all the videos and photos from his phone to the police so they could search for clues in the camera footage. Every moment, the same scene replayed in Sophia's mind, the little fingers lost in the lights near the tree, and then the empty space. 2 days passed, but there was still no sign of Leanna. Footage from nearby hotels, bus stops, subway stations, and restaurants was reviewed. A few vague hints appeared, but nothing formed a clear picture. Across the city, hashtags began trending on social media. People were sharing the news, filled with both hope and fear. During this time, another family reported that their daughter had also gone missing that same night. At first, it seemed like a coincidence, but when a second and then a third report surfaced, it started to form a pattern. People began to suspect that someone was deliberately luring children away from specific places at night. Sophia's sleep had been completely shattered. Even during the day, she wandered restlessly, startled by every sound. Each night when she closed her eyes, the place of Leanna's laughter was filled with silence. One evening, while speaking with a small group of people in a corner of the park, a man mentioned a strange incident he had witnessed outside a gaming club. He had seen a man taking a little girl inside. A small flame of hope lit up inside Sophia. Could this lead to Liana? She immediately rushed toward the gaming club, her heart filled with a mix of hope, fear, and anxiety. From the outside, the gaming club glittered with neon lights, but once inside, the atmosphere felt chillingly stagnant. The beeping of game machines, the faint bustle of teenagers, and low, muffled voices drifting from beneath bold neon signs. Sophia stepped in, and amid the cameras, security booths, and the restless noise, she noticed a child, someone like Liana, curled up on a tiny chair hidden in a corner. Her heart began to pound, and she ran forward. "Liana." She cried out. The girl opened her eyes, her breath caught slightly, her face heavy with sadness and confusion. Sophia pulled her into her chest, tears in her eyes. But the relief was short-lived. There was seriousness and fear etched on the faces of several people in the club. A young man explained that the girl had been found in the club's arena-like section during a special show. Someone had first taken her to a separate area, and then disappeared when questions began to be asked. The club's security footage showed a man of medium height, formally dressed in a black coat, head lowered, his walk quick and purposeful. The movements captured on camera made his suspicious behavior clear. He often wandered through specific areas in the evenings, followed certain girls, then abruptly changed his path. When Sophia showed the footage to the police, their expressions hardened. They immediately ordered further investigations and questioned people present in the club in detail. Holding Leanna's clothes close, gripping her tiny finger, Sophia made her way home through the crowded city. But inside her, a new question had taken root. Who was this man, and what was his purpose? The police created a profile of the suspect based on his facial features and behavior. In several frames extracted from the club's footage, his direction repeatedly appeared to lead toward specific restaurants and parks. Sophia and Rahim began following this route themselves, secretly monitoring the area at night and questioning local shopkeepers. One evening, they met a restaurant owner who had seen the suspicious man. He said the man often sat there late at night, quietly observing people, sometimes alone and sometimes sitting inside a car. As the police gathered more data, it emerged that the man had been involved in minor offenses, but had never been caught on a larger scale. A covert team decided to raid his possible hideout. Sophia was filled with fear, yet driven by determination. She wanted justice not only for her own daughter, but for other affected families as well. During the raid, they discovered a small room where children's clothes were scattered, along with a few toys and a notebook containing names and dates. A device was found that experts said could release gases or chemical mixtures capable of rendering victims temporarily unconscious, used to overpower the girls. The most horrifying discovery was a list in the notebook. Some names were complete, others only initials. The dates clustered around the days near Christmas. The suspect resisted arrest, but due to swift action, the police managed to subdue him. During interrogation, he coldly stated that he was playing a game of his own design, where children simply disappeared and reappeared. His tone was unapologetic and ruthless, leaving everyone present deeply shaken. That night, as Sophia returned home holding Leanna's hand, she felt a mixture of emotions, relief that her daughter was safe, and profound trauma at the realization that someone had turned innocence into a game. Working with the police, they identified more affected locations and reached out to other families, determined to expose the entire network. After the suspect's arrest, the police intensified the investigation. Searches of his mobile phone, car, and notebook revealed addresses of multiple affected areas. It emerged that he would observe his targets at night along specific routes and in crowded places, then take them to hidden rooms or small rented spaces, where he would temporarily render them unconscious using toxic substances or unfamiliar devices. When samples of these tools were sent to the laboratory, it became clear that he had obtained specific chemicals and equipment from local or online markets. His planning was highly sophisticated and extremely dangerous. Working alongside the police, Sophia compiled a list of affected families and arranged medical and psychological support for every child involved. To help Leanna overcome the fear buried within her, child psychologists began treatment gradually. In the early days, she panicked at noise, lights, and crowds, but with time, her laughter slowly began to return. Sophia and Rahim launched a public awareness campaign through their videos and social channels, urging people not to go out alone, to dress children in bright clothing, and to report any suspicious activity immediately. When court proceedings began, the case became public. The media exposed its details, sparking anger and outrage throughout the community. The affected families organized a joint protest and appeal, demanding that city authorities increase surveillance on streets and public spaces, enforce stricter safety regulations in gaming clubs and neon-lit venues, and provide more resources to the police force. During this time, further evidence against the suspect surfaced. Links to others within the same network were discovered, individuals who had transported children to different cities. The severity of these revelations elevated the case to a nationwide level. Sophia wrote a note addressed to parents. "We found our daughter, but many are still searching for their children. Do not remain silent. Speak up, share, and unite for protection." The message sent a wave through the community. People began organizing volunteer monitoring in schools, parks, and clubs to safeguard children. When the court verdicts were delivered, the suspect was sentenced, but a question lingered in Sophia's heart. Had the entire network truly been dismantled, or had only one structure been caught? She knew that awareness and vigilance were the only guarantees of safety in the days to come. After the court proceedings, the investigation expanded further. When police examined the suspect's phone, bank records, and online communications, it became clear that he was not acting alone. Multiple names and contacts surfaced, linked to similar incidents across different cities. Federal agencies also began to take notice, and information on affected cases from various states was compiled onto a single platform. This revealed several common patterns in the profiles of the affected girls, very young age, being alone at night in crowded places, and symptoms such as temporary memory loss following specific incidents. As Sophia watched the picture of this network come into focus, she realized that her struggle was no longer limited to personal justice or revenge. It had become a fight against a much larger system. Through local and online media, she began educating parents on practical ways to protect their children, emergency code words, geo-tracking apps, ensuring that at least 2 adults are present in public places, and teaching children to memorize their full names and their parents' phone numbers. The community responded quickly. School bus supervision was tightened, additional lighting was installed in parks, and staffing and security were increased in gaming clubs. Yet a personal ache remained in Sophia's heart. Many affected families were still waiting for their children. She made a promise to herself to help them in every possible way, whether through media outreach, fundraising, or direct involvement in search efforts. This determination turned her home into a small hub where affected parents gathered, shared information, and planned support. She knew healing would not be easy, but collective effort was essential. As the campaign grew, Sophia's life changed in a new way. She spent her days answering calls from affected families, organizing follow-up meetings, and speaking on local news channels about child safety. The work made her stronger, but also quietly exhausted her. One day, she received an anonymous phone call. In the silence, a male voice said only, "You've dug too deep. Stop now." Sophia immediately recorded the call and handed it over to the police, but it was clear that the network had not been stripped of all its remaining elements. The police carried out further investigations, and through a confidential informant, they traced a new possible location, a small rented warehouse on the outskirts of the city where suspicious activity was allegedly ongoing. Sophia insisted on going there immediately, but the police refused, explaining that it was a covert operation and that she could be in danger. She waited at home, but the night passed in restless anxiety. The next morning, the police officially announced that a raid had been conducted at the warehouse and that valuable evidence and possible captives had been recovered. This development reignited hope among the victims, yet it also raised troubling questions: how many children would return, and would this network truly be dismantled? Sophia decided she would cooperate with the police at every stage and ensure that all available information reached the affected families. This commitment connected her with local leaders and social activists, and she had now become a powerful voice, fighting not only for her own daughter, but for other children as well. The search of the warehouse uncovered several pieces of evidence that had not previously come to light: bundled cables, small bedding items, and a laptop containing numerous videos and documents. Experts immediately seized the files. Some videos contained short clips of girls along with dates, while the documents listed logistical details, rental accounts, and contact numbers. This made it clear that behind the suspect was an organized network that kept children for short periods before moving them along different routes, possibly for online profit or a deeply disturbing game. The police moved quickly to investigate these files, and international agencies were brought in as well, as some tracking data pointed toward multiple cities and even possible overseas locations. During this time, several families received a glimmer of hope. Some local girls were recovered from warehouses and rented rooms. Sophia personally attended many of the meetings where the returned girls were provided with a safe environment and psychological support. Each child's story was different. Some remained silent, others had fragmented memories, but one shared determination bound everyone together: the resolve to bring the children back. During this same period, Sophia received a confidential letter. Someone unknown warned her that while several members of the network had been arrested, its ringleader was still at large and intended to take personal revenge against her. This information filled her with fear, but also with renewed strength. She knew her efforts were only the beginning, and that the fight could now become dangerous on a personal level. She increased security around her home and organized regular community safety patrols. After the news of the arrest and the discovery of the warehouse, a mixed sense of relief spread across the city. The return of several children gave the community hope, but Sophia knew the danger had not been completely eliminated. She had strengthened security measures, installing cameras around the house, using mobile tracking apps, and organizing a neighborhood network that patrolled at night. Leanna's laughter was gradually returning, yet sometimes she would suddenly wake up at night and ask in fear, "Mom, will those people come back?" With renewed courage in her heart, Sophia would reply, "No, my daughter. We will do everything possible to protect you." The police began a new phase of investigation, thoroughly examining bank transactions, rental agreements, and online communications. Meanwhile, with the help of the community, Sophia created an online database where information about each missing child, possible suspicious locations, and related footage was compiled. It was not a public platform. It was shared only between verified individuals and the police to prevent misinformation and rumors. One day, an unexpected phone call came. A crying woman said, "My daughter has been found in a park in the city, but she cannot speak. She seems terrified." Sophia immediately rushed there, provided urgent medical and psychological support with her team, and informed the police. That day, as the little girl lay breathing in the hospital, Sophia realized that the joy of saving at least some lives was possible. But that same evening, a piece of news shook everyone. An official document revealed the name of another associate of the suspect who was still at large and active within the city's new limits. Sophia realized that this fight was not only legal, but social as well. People needed awareness about changing behaviors, lack of vigilance, and the importance of child safety. She was no longer just a mother. She had become a leader, walking each day between new dangers and new hopes. The police launched a new phase of investigation, thoroughly examining bank transactions, rental agreements, and online communications. Meanwhile, with the help of the community, Sophia created an online database where information about each missing child, possible suspicious locations, and related footage could be compiled. It was not a public platform. Only verified individuals and the police had access to it, to prevent misinformation and rumors from spreading. It was essential for the story to continue in a reflective and reassuring manner. Sophia carried on her work even after the court proceedings. She further organized the child safety network she had established, launched regular workshops in collaboration with local schools and community centers, and operated a helpline through which parents could receive immediate advice and assistance. In its first few months, the helpline handled hundreds of calls. Many parents reported small but suspicious incidents that were addressed in time. Working alongside local authorities, Sophia helped draft policy proposals, upgrading camera networks in public spaces, enforcing stricter licensing regulations for gaming clubs and nighttime entertainment venues, and making basic self-protection courses mandatory in schools. These proposals sparked debate within the city council, and eventually several new regulations were implemented. On a personal level, Leanna's recovery was a long but effective process. Psychologists explained that a safe environment, consistent routines, and a loving support system play a crucial role in a child's healing. Sophia created small daily rituals, morning walks in the sunlight, evening storytelling, and weekly community group meetings, where both children and parents participated. These routines became a source of healing, not only for Leanna, but for many other affected children as well. 1 year later, Sophia released a documentary on her video channel, sharing her story, the actions taken against the network, and the community's collective efforts. The video gained worldwide attention, and several nonprofit organizations offered their support. This success strengthened Sophia's resolve to work on a broader scale for child protection. She was no longer just a mother, but the leader of a movement. In the final scene, the same Christmas lights returned a year later, carrying a slightly different meaning. They were no longer just symbols of joy, but of support, accountability, and awareness. Sophia held Leanna's hand firmly and felt a deep, unwavering promise take shape within her. We will continue what we have started, so that no other mother ever has to feel this fear. Support us, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments.